go with these today or these? Good morning, everybody, from Universal Orlando Resort. We're heading over to Universal Studios Florida side. Today's the day. We're going to start talking a little bit about Halloween Horror Nights. We're just about a month and a half away before we'll have our medallion out here and spooky times begin again. To date, we have 3 houses announced. We have multiple tickets that have been released, and we have more announcements coming in very short order. Although there's also a bunch of rumors that are, let's say, beyond rumor state at this point, just not formally announced. We'll try to go over a little bit of all of that. The streets of Hollywood are kind of dead. We're making our way up here because as of last week, former HHN stars, the M3GANs, are back in the park. The word is that there is no quote-unquote set time for them to come out, but they've been known to come out right around this time, so we'll just sit around here and see what's going on. We do have a M3GAN 2.0 photo opportunity here. As we wait for the M3GANs, you can see across the street here, we have a lighting truss that's up there. That lighting truss most likely in place in advance of Halloween Horror Nights 2025 for the Lagoon show that is supposedly supposed to be coming back. All right, so while we wait for the M3GANs to show up, I think Marilyn's going to start behind me here in a little bit. Let's talk about the 3 houses that have been announced so far. We had a quasi-announcement for Five Nights at Freddy's, which was dropped early because Blumhouse folks made an announcement early by accident, so HHN kind of rushed to push out information saying more stuff would be coming soon. I do think that information, there's a lot more information to come around. Five Nights at Freddy's will be coming soon. I think it led to a lot of speculation, like maybe it'll be something so much bigger than a house. Maybe it'll take over. It's a house. There'll be more information about it soon. That's going to be a gigantic property, especially for younger people to kind of pack in the park here. The next house that's been announced is Fallout. Fallout is an incredibly popular game that's translated to an incredibly popular TV show. I have not watched the TV show. I've only played a little bit of the game. I do know that it is a gigantic fan favorite, so I'm sure that's going to pull in the video game crowd. Universal every so often pulls out a video game house here. Silent Hill was really good. They had Resident Evil in the past too. So they've been known to do video games in the past, and people that are like hardcore into the games are always finding like little Easter eggs. So if you're doing the behind the scenes tours, which they have started selling those tickets, probably well worth it for you to go through and do the behind the scenes tour if they, when you find out like which houses are included, because Fallout would be a good one to be able to go through. And then just last week on Friday the 13th, they announced Jason Universe. Jason Universe is essentially Universal's way of bringing a Friday the 13th house to Halloween Horror Nights without calling it Friday the 13th. And they actually can't call it Friday the 13th because there are rights issues. The Friday the 13th franchise at this point is so jacked up legally with IP ownership between owning the name Jason and owning the name Friday the 13th. Things split over the years. The last time that Friday the 13th was here was we had Freddy versus Jason back in Halloween Horror Nights 2025. Phenomenal house at the time. And you go to like local parks, like we did a little Friday the 13th kind of pop-up a couple of years back at Fear Reach. And Six Flags Over Georgia has historically done like the camp house, which is outside, and it's essentially Jason also with a hockey mask and everything. Everything's kind of been loosey-goosey. This time around, Universal bringing back Jason the character in his kill shack. Jason, anything that's going to be involved with him is going to be merchandise. It's going to be just hype off the charts. Jason, kind of that legendary character if you're looking at the Mount Rushmore of horror. I am very much looking forward to seeing what they could do with Jason this time around. Although it is going to be in the Fast and the Furious queue or building like we've had in the past with Chucky and then last year Major Suites. That building, I think itself is kind of a detriment because it's so limited in what you can do with the space inside. But last year they really optimized it well for Major Suites, and this year I think having those close quarters and probably what I would imagine to be like 25, 30 Jasons jumping out at you, it's going to be pretty awesome. All right, so while the noisy Maryland show is going on, let's just take a look in the 5 and Dime at the up-to-date Halloween Horror Nights merch. The Jason Universe merch has been released. Let's see what we've got here. The event shirt for the year, Never Go Alone. And yet again, Don't Go Alone, Never Don't Go Alone. Jason mugs. $20. Fallout merch. No tag on the back. And you can see they're big on this stained glass this year, so they are selling like a stained glass thing where you could buy individual cutouts to put into the stained glass. It's not this. This is a much bigger version. We'll get around the other side while folks are kind of cleaning it up at this point. But these are little inserts for your stained glass. These things run $8 a piece. So if you're into this kind of thing, they have it for you. We got the magic mirror here. It's, oh my god. We got the Jason shirts here. So if you like extra small, that's literally all they have left here in the store. I'm sure that they'll get more, but wow. People are hyped for some Jason. This is the appropriate size frame that we're referring to. And here's your little Jason to insert into your frame. And I don't know if you could hear it because of the background noise, but it's all spooky music over here. And crows are back. We also have some Fallout cups. Never go alone. Never, never, never go alone. Never go alone shot glasses and candles. The mystery machine is showing up. M3GAN's. So the M3GAN show is done. They've done their meet and greet. I took a picture with them. I took photos of them. There is maybe a rumor that they could be back for Halloween Horror Nights too. But anyway, back to this. Water show, Lagoon. People have been demanding it for the last couple of years. I believe we will see it. We also have the beginning here for the entranceway for the HHN bar, or the entryway to the Creed scare zone, if you will. We head into the Central Park area. We'll see what else is out and about. Walking towards the back of the park. No noticeable HHN type items here. Keeping on topic with HHN, this area in past years has been used to stay and scream, meaning if you had a day ticket to the park, you could stay in the park and just get a jump on certain houses for Halloween Horror Nights. The queue areas outside of the housing entries or stanchions, like for the specific houses and just in that general area tend to be packed and in the sunlight or in the weather. And this year, that is due to change. If you're doing Stay and Scream or Scream early tickets, you should be let right into the queues of the houses that will be opening early instead of having to wait out in the blistering sun. Back there, pop-up tents for HHN, well underway. House construction really should be nearing completion at this point. Ooh, and back towards Fear Factor. Lots more lighting trusses or sign trusses. That's the entranceway for the houses in the back. That should be the same entranceway again for this year. And what do we have here? Big sign for our HHN show. And show times. More structures. And bathroom still under construction over by Potter. This should be wrapped up in time for Halloween Horror Nights. And so as we wander in the back here, let's talk about rumored houses here for a moment. Now there's two big IP rumored houses that are likely to happen this year. Long rumored, probably the title house for the year, would be Art the Clown and Terrifier, kind of bringing you through Terrifier's greatest hits. Terrifier has been the subject of so many leaks, it's got more leaks than like the Titanic at this point. And when people say Terrifier, they can't do that, it's so gory, what are they going to do, tone it down? I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that this will be the goriest house that Halloween Horror Nights has ever done. If you were a fan of Halloween Horror Nights and coming for many years, you realize that past years, they had some super gore-tastic houses, which is wonderful that we would be going back to that level. And I realize this property is not for everyone, it's certainly not for the squeamish, but it is certainly the most popular horror franchise in the last 20 years. And the last IP house that we could talk about, actually, fans have been talking about probably for at least the last 5 years. And that would be the Wyatt Six house. Wyatt Six from WWE, one of the most popular and hottest IP franchises within WWE for years, based off of the character Bray Wyatt, and now taking it forward with his brother. Years back, Bray Wyatt had tweeted at Michael Aiello about like, hey, we should do a house together, because he is such a huge horror and HHN fan. He had been seen at HHN by many fans throughout the years prior to his untimely passing. What an incredible tribute it'll be to see that house finally come to fruition. Jason Baker and Coliseum Studios, folks that make like the Fiend or Bray Wyatt's mask and his attire, as well as the folks from the Wyatt Six. I imagine this will be like a dream come true. Be able to see his properties come to life in a living, breathing haunted house here to scare guests. I think it's going to be potentially the sleeper house of the year. Again, until those houses are formally announced, they are speculation or rumors. Universal is due to make an announcement at Spooky Empire tomorrow, but I anticipate that that'll be for an original house property. In the back in San Francisco, we do have this big truss that's out here, which is currently geared towards 4th of July to support Jaws' 50th anniversary. But I'm sure all of this can be repurposed for Halloween Horror Nights also. Again, backed by Fast and Furious Supercharged, this is where the Jason Universe house will be, off to the right. And this is actually closing at 6 today, earlier than the park. I'm sure to allow for more construction time or things that they need to do to support Halloween Horror Nights. So in New York, we have construction walls up around the firehouse and around Rip Ride Rocket. I think this is slightly problematic for traffic once we get into Halloween Horror Nights. There is a fun nod over here to the restoration of the firehouse. And you can see those walls go all the way up over there. This is traditionally an entrance to a couple of haunted houses here. I'm anticipating that there will be a change up of how you can enter the houses in the back there, because ultimately what I've heard, at least rumor wise, although we've heard that Rip Ride Rocket's closing on the 18th of August, is that Jimmy Fallon may not be long for this world either. That was the latest breaking internet buzz yesterday, where all of this could potentially be used to support the construction of a new coaster. Will that come to fruition? No idea. There have been rumors about what's replacing Rip Ride Rocket, and those rumors have gone from Fast and the Furious to Ghostbusters to Fast and the Furious to who knows? Maybe it'll be Ghostbusters after all with the use of the firehouse. That would be cool. If it was Fast and the Furious, that would be cool too. The coaster out in California looks absolutely bonkers. All kinds of lights up around Minions. And on the Minions over here too. I honestly can't remember if those lights have been static there or if maybe they're coming back for Halloween Horror Nights. Or we had to move out of Universal itself because it was too noisy with a ton of copyright stuff happening in the background. Let's talk about some tickets that are currently available through the Universal Orlando website. As we mentioned before, behind the scenes tickets are available. Single day tickets are available. Single day express is available. Scream early tickets are available, and also the premium Scream tickets are available. Not available yet, and it's on track with what happens in prior years, are multi-night tickets. So like Frequent Fear or Rush of Fear and things like that, or Ultimate Fear. Those are the tickets that if you're local, it makes sense because you can go, just about like every day except for Friday, or every day plus Friday, or every single day, etc. Those tickets generally become available sometime in the July time period. And while single day express is available now, multi-day express is not available. That generally doesn't happen until July also, although the word on the street pretty consistently over the last few months has been that there would be no multi-night express this year. There hasn't been any confirmation from Universal at this point, but I think the rumor has kind of picked up some ground over the last couple of years. If you remember last year, multi-night express like Frequent Fear Plus Express sold out the same day that it went on sale, and they didn't announce the day that it was going on sale either. So like their website got hammered, and then within a couple of hours, those multi-night express tickets were gone for good. I think Universal is seeing that they can make much more money if they force people to buy single-day express tickets, which are currently available, because while you buy a multi-night ticket plus express, it only adds like a couple $100 to your multi-night ticket, when if you are forced to buy single-night express tickets, it runs generally about $150 to $250 per night. And, the cheap seats way, if you were looking at things more or less to do things, usually they sell like tickets after like 11 o'clock or something, like late night express tickets. If you're in the park and they have openings for express tickets, they'll sell them at a discounted price. That discounted price, I believe, is like $100. So I think the world is waiting to see if the multi-night express tickets go on sale. I don't anticipate that happening this year. I just don't. I would be more than happy if they do, because I would be looking to put down money as soon as I possibly could. But, I'm going into this thinking there's no multi-night express. One thing that we did last year was the premium Scream night. And the premium Scream night last year, it was a high price ticket, so like $300 plus, but it gave you select food items. They said select food items and a reduced crowd. I think everybody that normally goes to the event, like on a multi-night basis, who this is kind of targeted for, was like, hey, I'm already buying a multi-night ticket. Why would I need to buy that? And as a result, the ticket sales were really flat. I mean, really flat. We had the greatest time of our lives last year going because there was nobody there. They had a planned max ticket sale last year of about 5,000 of the premium Scream nights, and they sold under 3,000. And it didn't mean that we got to just waltz right into every house and have the houses to ourselves and have everything paced. I think at the start of the night it was like that. We went to a couple houses where we were like the only guests in there. And then there were some houses that had a modest wait to be able to get into. And modest like being like 10, 15 minutes. So the crowd last year, less than 3,000 for that. We were able to get into like all of the food booths and eat all the food. It didn't include alcoholic beverages, but it did include like water and soft drinks and stuff like that. And we were able to actually sample all the food items and everything. This year they're offering it again. The price went up by like $25 or something like that. And I will say there is a website out there you guys are welcome to check out and kind of scan on a regular basis called, I think, Thrill Data. We'll put a link to that in the description below. And they're tracking how many tickets are sold so far and what the max is. And while last year the max was 5,000, they sold under 3,000 tickets. This year the max is like 7,600, and they've sold greater than like 4,200 tickets so far. So they've already sold more than 1,000 tickets more than what it was last year. And even if they hit the 7,600, which I'm anticipating this will sell out for sure, it'll be like a slow night of HHN. It won't be a walk right in type of night. Like I'm thinking like probably up to like half an hour waits for some houses. And it also includes food again into your ticket price, so there's that. And while we did have a great time last year, I don't think, if you're looking at videos of last year's event and thinking like this year's event is going to be the same thing, I don't think anything will ever come close to what we had last year because the crowd was so sparse. Likewise, that same site is also tracking the same day express sale tickets. So when we talk about maybe multi-night not being offered, single night express tickets, there's about 4,000 to 5,000 tickets per night that are for sale, and so far they've sold like a few hundred tickets per night for any given night throughout the run, and you can check all of that detail out on the site, so it gives you kind of an idea if you were backing that thought of, do they need to buy, do they need to sell multi-night express tickets? In all honesty, they don't need to, because the single night tickets are seemingly flying off the shelves. They haven't really even announced the rest of their ticket packages yet, and they're already selling a good chunk of those express tickets. And last but not least, they are selling the behind-the-scenes tour tickets. We've done that like just about every year. I don't think that I'm going to do it this year. It's a lot of walking, especially if you're coming and you're wanting to do that like the first weekend, or do that and Halloween Horror Nights. At Halloween Horror Nights, you usually average like 7 to 9 miles walking per night. And, you're doubling that by doing that house tour because you're walking the same distance. So it becomes a lot, and there's a lot of exhaustion, I think, and it's too hot. So it depends, like if if it's quote unquote worth it for you. As always, there's no video on those tours. It's photographs only, and the photographs are only allowed in certain areas, and those areas have become less and less every year. So there's really cool scenes that you get to kind of see with your eyes with the lights on, and then they tell you like no photos allowed in those areas. So that's kind of a bummer to me, and a no sale. And I think that about does it for HHN. If I didn't mention it earlier, some of the folks that were working over by the M3GAN's thing, kind of popped this rumor out there that M3GAN's would be returning for Halloween Horror Nights. So maybe that's a really cool pop-up thing what they do. And the movie comes out soon. It looks incredibly stupid, but I'd be happy to go see it. I love those stupid, silly horror movies. So on that note, I'm going to get out of here. Thanks a lot for watching. Thank you very much for all of your likes, comments, and subscriptions. Treat others the way you want to be treated. Have a great day. See you guys. Subscribe to the cheap seats, or he's going to kill me.